Good evening, everybody. Calling to order the North Ridgeville City Council meeting. Today is Monday, July 10th, 2023. If you are able, please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Father, for the opportunity to be together this evening. We ask you once again to provide us with your wisdom so that we may engage in meaningful discussion and ultimately to make the best decisions possible for the betterment of North Ridgeville and its residents. We ask this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink.
Here.
Boos.
Here.
Abens.
Here.
Winkle.
Here.
Awig.
Here.
DeVries.
Excused.
Jacobs.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Law Director.
Here.
Engineer. Here. Finance Director. Here. Clerk of Council. Here.
Tonight, under the approval of minutes, we have the City Council meeting minutes dated June 19th, 2023. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as originally submitted. Please note that Council has also received the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting minutes dated May 24th, 2023, the Planning Commission meeting minutes dated June 13th, 2023, and the Civil Service Commission meeting minutes dated June 26th, 2023. That will bring us to our lobby session. In a moment, I will open the lobby session. As a reminder to those here in Council chambers, in the interest of time, as always, the lobby session is not intended to be an interactive question and answer session, but it is an opportunity to allow the public to address both City Council as well as the City Administration. Anybody wishing to speak this evening, we do ask that you speak from the podium. I will ask that you begin by stating your name and address for the record, at which time you will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak regarding any matter pertaining to the business of City Council or the general affairs of the City of North Ridgeville. I do have a couple of written submissions that I have received so far, so I will take those in the order in which they were received. So at this time, the lobby session is now open, and I would call Mrs. Kersey to the podium, please. Again, for the record, if you could please begin by stating your name and address, and your 3 minutes will begin.
Okay, my name is Shelley Kersey. I live at 37886 Stony Lake Drive in North Ridgeville, Ohio. I'm here once again to address the issue the city is currently facing due to the continued employment of Mike Freeman as police chief. I will continue to attend each and every meeting until this person is removed from office. Since I spoke at the last council meeting, I was contacted by a former dispatcher with the department. This person had over 10 years of experience before they came here and started at North Ridgeville. They spent 15 years here. This was all they knew, and they did an amazing job. This person with 25 years of experience left for one reason: Mike Freeman. In a direct quote from them, "He ruined it for me. He's a terrible, terrible person." They also reminded me that another dispatcher with over 25 years of experience has left for the very same reason. We also have many police officers that have left for that reason. You cannot tell me that experienced dispatchers and policemen are easy to find, especially to work in a toxic work environment. This person thanked me for standing up for those employed by the North Ridgeville Police Department, and I will continue to do so. Over the weekend of July 4th, do you know how many patrol cars were on the road? I do. 4. For a long holiday weekend with many parties, and I'm sure even more impaired drivers. How many lives are being put in jeopardy because we don't have enough staff? I can tell you right now that 1 is too darn many. I was contacted by a member of council after I spoke, and I was told that they felt that their hands were tied, there was nothing they could do. If any council member is afraid to confront the mayor on any issue, you should immediately resign your position. You do not represent those people in this city, only your own selfish aspirations. I have witnessed other investigations being performed by impartial parties, and I don't believe for 1 minute that this law firm had no ties to the city of North Ridgeville or its former safety service director. I am asking that Freeman be a part of the be put on administrative leave until, number 1, a complete psychiatric evaluation determining his competency to lead the department is obtained by a licensed professional. 2, counseling for anger management is completed. And 3, the findings of the investigations are completed and the results are made public. At the very least, this action will give those who have to work in this toxic environment peace of mind until he is permanently removed from office. No one should be forced to work in that kind of toxic environment on a day-to-day basis. Those in the department will not be able to speak freely if they are consistently being vilified and bullied by Freeman while the investigation is ongoing. The city, the council, and the mayor have been aware of this issue for far too long, over 12 years now. The time for action is now, and it needs to be taken care of. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mrs. Kersey. I also have a submission from Mr. Craig. You could please start by stating your name and address, and your 3 minutes will begin.
Albert Craig, 37903 Sugar Ridge Road. It's been an ongoing problem for 7 years now with the illegal truck traffic in our neighborhood. And yes, we are fully aware Race Road's closed, so we got an amount of trucks using Sugar Ridge Road for Race Road. We have a huge amount of trucks still, and it's been ramping up since probably 3 months ago. Trucks just ripping through from one end to the other, not making any stops. The fun thing is, there is no police on our road anymore. I don't know if we got blackballed. I don't see them after the trucks during, especially the afternoons, because they're usually in the school zones. Well, the school ain't in session all summer long. Haven't seen a cop yet in the afternoons. They sit down here on the eastern end of Sugar Ridge Road, way down here, but there's been nothing, no coverage at all near Race Road intersection of Sugar Ridge. Speeding is getting ridiculous. You can hear just the wind from some of the cars going by. They're going so damn fast. It's unbelievable what the wild, wild west is in our neighborhood at this point in time. There's nothing being done. I don't know if we got blackballed, because you used to at least even see a cop even drive up and down the road once in a while. I'm outside a lot, so are some of my neighbors. I'm the only one speaking, because everybody else on our street says nothing's gonna get done, which it's, in reality, yeah, very little has been done about this problem. It'd be nice to have some signs up there, get a nice smooth road again some point in time, but the smooth road's pointless as long as we're gonna have trucks going down here. Taking all this money to buy all these signs to advertise the city of North Ridgeville all over the place, why can't we use that money? Why can't we use money like that for getting more cops in here, or fixing some of the roads, or putting up more appropriate signs that are needed, especially for directing these trucks out of the neighborhoods? Lorraine Road and Root Road, that's another really bad intersection for trucks just blowing through anywhere they want to go. There ain't a time yet I ain't gone down there and haven't seen a few trucks just going wherever they're not supposed to be going. This problem needs to be taken care of, and it's not by far the measure it needs to be done. And nobody will get a hold of the State Highway Patrol and get them in on it. You know, I've talked to them, they said they'd be more than willing to be in, but nope, nothing's getting done. It's getting out of control in our neighborhood. You don't believe me? I got a picnic table in the front yard. You can come sit there for an hour or two between the hours of any time during the day, and even on the weekends, we're getting trucks. We're getting gas tanker trucks. We're getting fully loaded car hauling semi trucks. Everything and anything under the sun has been coming down Sugar Ridge Road, and this has been before Race Road closed. All you gotta do is watch the trucks. They're just driving right past Race Road. They're not there because Race Road got closed. Yeah, we have a lot of them there, but you can just tell which ones are supposed to be there and which ones are not. And not really anything is being done at this point in time. I don't know what the staffing levels are in the police department, but it doesn't sound like it's good. Our police chief has given us the cold shoulder, you know. I've
Mr.
had
Craig,
that personally, so.
Pardon the interruption, your
That's all
3
I gotta
minutes is.
say.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have anybody else in attendance this evening who would like to speak? As a reminder, if you could please state your name and your address for the record, and your 3 minutes will begin.
My name is Genevieve Flieger, 32797 Chestnut Ridge Road in North Ridgeville. Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, I'm here today to urge you to issue a formal statement in opposition to Ohio's Issue 1 in the special election this August. Sure, it would be easy to say that's a state issue, not a city matter, But this issue 1 is a direct attack on every Ohioan's and therefore every North Ridgeville resident's right to amend our state constitution. The current process has worked well for over 110 years, but issue 1 seeks to make it much harder for regular citizens to have any say in the laws we all have to follow. The precedent has already been set. City leaders recognize the danger that issue 1 poses. The mayor and city councils of Cleveland and of Akron have issued statements urging voters to vote no this August. The Ohio Alliance of Mayors, which represents 30 of Ohio's largest cities, including Toledo, Columbus, Cincinnati, even our neighbors Elyria and Lorain, has issued a statement opposing issue 1. If you need more guidance, look to former Ohio Governors Taft, Celeste, Strickland, and Kasich, who represent both Republican and Democratic parties, or to the hundreds of groups that have all said we must vote no. Those include dozens of labor unions, the Fraternal Order of Police, teachers, firefighters, prominent business leaders, faith leaders and church groups, nonpartisan voter advocates, regional newspapers, and even our own North Ridgeville Education Association. So yes, I know it would be easy to sit this one out and take no position. But given how this issue could impact life in Ohio for everyone in this room and everyone in this city, I ask that you take action. Publish a statement on behalf of the city and with all of the authority of your offices to say vote no on issue 1, August 8th. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience this evening that would like to address council? All right, seeing none, lobby session is now closed. We'll move on to administrative reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On tonight's agenda, under first readings, we have T70, which is an ordinance disposing of vehicles and equipment no longer needed for medicinal purposes. Going to ask for the emergency clause added to that so we can send those vehicles to the auction house and get the maximum amount of money that we could for those vehicles. We also have several financial items on the agenda as well under first readings, and they will all need the emergency clause as outlined by our finance director's memo that was sent out to you. It came up earlier, the city signage program. I know there was a lot of surprise, I guess, on the amount of money that we were put in our ordinance, but we had originally budgeted during the November budget process that we were going to spend $750,000 on signage throughout the city. The ordinance itself came in at around $475, I think, or somewhere around there. But I can tell you, and I'm happy to tell you, that the sign bids came in. The winning bid was $202,559. So we'll be spending at least $500,000 less on signs than we originally anticipated. There was a survey that was sent out by our Parks and Rec department of renaming the soccer complex, and the result of that vote was that the park will now be known as Root Road Park. We are still hosting or asking for applications for full-time patrol officer and firefighter paramedics. Those applications are accepted now through July 24th. So if you're interested in joining our safety forces, please fill out one of those applications. We have several other employment opportunities within the city, and they are all listed on our city's website. Everything from engineering positions, labor positions, administrative assistants, school crossing guards. So there's a bunch of different things out there if you're looking to join the city. Our street department, or street paving department, has been hard at work finishing up Downing Avenue. They'll be moving on to Lear-Nagel Road next, and that is the north side from Center Ridge over to Mills. That area is in desperate need of attention. They'll be doing some milling and paving for the safety of our employees, that road will have to be closed, and it'll be closed on July 25th and 26th. And of course, those dates are all weather dependent. But it'll be closed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to through traffic. Local access will be available only. There'll be a second closure that'll be necessary once they do the paving part of that project. And all the information on our road projects is available on our city's website. The next coffee and conversation is going to be on Tuesday, July 18th, and it is a special one because it is a night session from 6 to 7 p.m. So it'll be here in council chambers. And then we are having a special event for the master plan. It is the Ready to Imagine pop-up party on July 20th. It's happening right out here in the grass area just to our south. That's from 6 to 8 p.m. It is going to include some free pizza and ice cream. There'll be activities, music, prizes, and it is basically to put out there the ideas that were presented to the steering committee about the town center plan done as part of our master plan process. So there'll be participation from the Park and Rec Department, Senior Center, schools, library, Veterans Memorial, and Heart and Soul. So if you're interested in learning more about that event, go to our city's website or the Master Plan Committee's website, ridgevilleready.com. And with that being said, I move to go into executive session to consider the purchase of property.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the purchase of property. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Yes.
Boos.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, we will adjourn into executive session. All right, everybody, executive session has ended. We're now back in our regular session. Mr. Mayor, if you could please continue with your report.
Mr. President, that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Engineer?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few project updates. Fetchco is still working on some punch list items for the Center Ridge Road ODOT widening project. They'll be out in the upcoming month to repair some driveway aprons that had some spalling, so you'll see them out on site for a little while longer. Center Ridge Road urban repaving project. Carvo still has some outstanding items. I'm sure you'll notice that there's some traffic paint striping missing, and the ADA sidewalk improvements that were part of the project are still yet to be completed. Additionally, we have a number of punch list items. I know we've had several residents complain about the rideability, especially on the eastern portion of that repaving project, and we have identified all those areas, and they will be repaved. So that's scheduled to be hopefully by the end of the month yet. On the Stony Ridge Road roundabout, TC Energy has completed their utility work on the gas transmission line. For the next several weeks, we'll see First Energy out there setting new poles, and then we'll have to relocate all the aerial utilities. We recently bid out the full-depth concrete pavement replacement, got a lot of good bids. The contract was awarded to Fabrizi at $480,000. I recently reached out to the project manager for the Turnpike Bridge, the Race Road Bridge. They are on schedule. They did have a little bit of a delay, but they are still planning on opening the bridge in September. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Ms. Engineer. Ms. Finance Director?
Thank you, Council President. As the mayor indicated earlier, there are a few pieces of financial legislation before council tonight. T71 is a resolution authorizing the transfer and advances of funds. This legislation is related to the Ohio EPA 2023 Community and Litter Grant for recycling promotional and educational material. This grant is partially reimbursable, so we are asking council to approve the advance of half of the grant. The grantor will send the first half up front. And then the grant also included a 25% local match, so that transfer is a permanent transfer into the state grant fund. T72 is a resolution authorizing then and now certificates. Exhibit A explains the then and nows included in that legislation. T73 is an ordinance authorizing the amendment of annual appropriations. This appropriation amendment is primarily for appropriating the Ohio EPA Community Litter Grant transfer in advance, as well as additional funds needed for the annual property casualty and cyber risk insurance policies, as well as the salary and benefits and operating supplies for the crossing guard positions. And lastly is T74, which is the 2024 tax budget. The tax budget is information used to justify the continued collection of the authorized property tax levies and for participation in the distribution of local government funds. The revenue estimates included here are just an estimate. They may be amended at any time during or prior to the covered period. This is the beginning of the annual budget process. In the fall, we will meet to go through the appropriation piece of the annual budget process. In order for the Lorraine County Budget Commission to do their function as part of this process, they are asking that this tax budget be filed with them no later than July 20th, 2023. So this is why we're asking for the emergency clause to be added to that legislation. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Council is also in receipt of the June 2023 Building Division Report, the June 2023 Parks and Recreation Division Report, and the June 2023 Fire Department Report. We do have one council committee report on tonight's agenda. Clerk, if you could please read the Building and Lands Committee report.
The Building and Lands Committee report dated June 19, 2023. The committee reviewed and considered T60 2023. The committee made a motion to send T60 2023 back to City Council for consideration.
Mr. President, move to accept.
Second.
The motion was made by Winkle and seconded by Abens to accept the Building and Lands Committee report. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed say no. There is no correspondence or old business on tonight's agenda. Under new business, we do have a new liquor permit request. Clerk, if you could please read that.
A request from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for a new permit request from Ahana LLC DBA Butternut Food Mart at 34885 Lorraine Road.
Mr. President, I'd like to move to not request a hearing so the permit can be sent to the state for its final disposition hearing by July 1st, 2023.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Abens to not request a hearing so that this request can be sent to the state for final disposition by July 31st. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Hearing no additional new business brought forth this evening, we will move on to recess.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Swink?
move to dispense with recess. Second.
It was moved by Swink and seconded by Booth to dispense with recess. All opposed say yes. Yes.
Yes.
You said that backwards.
All approved. We're all opposed.
All- You guys want to take another recess? Let me start that over.
I think
It was moved by Swank and seconded by Booth to dispense with recess. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. All right, sorry about that. We will dispense with recess and move on to first readings. Up first is T70.
T70 2023, an ordinance authorizing the disposal of vehicles and equipment no longer needed for municipal purposes.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth?
I make a motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by Booth and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for T70. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed say no.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, I make a motion to add the emergency so that we can get the vehicles to sale and receive the maximum price.
Second.
It was moved by Booth and seconded by Abens to add the emergency clause to T70 for the reasons stated by Mr. Booth. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Abens to adopt T70 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank,
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
The motion carries 6-0 and becomes ordinance number 6082-2023.
T71.
T71-2023, a resolution authorizing fund transfers and advances.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
I make a motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
The motion was made by Booth and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T71. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed say no.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, I make a motion to add the emergency that we can provide the department with the necessary resources and funds.
Second.
It is moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T71 for the reasons just stated by Mr. Booth. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to adopt T71 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swank,
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Avens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Awig.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
The motion carries and becomes resolution 1599-2023.
T72.
T72-2023, a resolution authorizing the execution of then and now certificates by the city fiscal officer and the payment of amounts due for various purchase orders.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth?
I'll make a motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It is moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T72. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to add the emergencies so that we can provide the department with the necessary funds.
Second.
The motion was made by Booth and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T72 for the reasons stated by Mr. Booth. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to adopt T72 with the emergency clause in place. Is there any discussion at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and becomes resolution number 1600-2023.
T73.
T73-2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6031-2022 of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio, providing appropriations for the period commencing January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
I make a motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
The motion was made by Booth and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T73. Is there any discussion at this time? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adopt.
Second.
President, I make a motion to add the emergency per the comments made by the Director of Finance.
Second.
It was moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T73 for the reasons stated by Mr. Booth. On that emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to adopt T73 with the emergency clause in place. Is there any discussion at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and becomes ordinance number 6083-2023.
T74.
T74-2023, an ordinance adopting and approving the tax budget of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio for the year beginning January 1st, 2024, and submitting same to the Lorraine County Auditor.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
I'll make a motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It's moved by Booth and seconded by Swink to dispense with the second and third readings for T74. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All opposed say no.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, I make a motion to add the emergency so that we can meet the county's deadline.
Second.
It is moved by Booth and seconded by Swink to add the emergency clause to T74 in order to meet the county's deadline. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Swink to adopt T74 with the emergency clause in place. All right, is there any discussion at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6084-2023.
We'll move on to second readings. We have T69.
T69-2023, an ordinance amending Chapter 1292, non-conforming uses of the North Ridgeville zoning code.
We do not have any third readings on tonight's agenda. As for meeting announcements, the next regular city council meeting will be held on Monday, July 24th at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. Do any of the council members or administration have any final comments for this evening?
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Bruce?
Just to add on to what the mayor had said earlier in regarding the changing of the Root Road Park. I'm a member of the Park and Rec Commission, and I first want to thank all the residents who completed the survey. We had hundreds of people give their input, and we really do appreciate that. The other thing is, with all our parks, we're looking at forward thinking. It's a soccer park today. It also has a playground. And so we want the residents of our city to understand that it's not just a soccer complex, it's a park. I worked on Shady Drive for many, many years to make sure that everyone knew that that was a park, not a baseball, softball complex. There's a pavilion there, there's a walking trail there, there's batting cages, there's a building there that we do spinning at. All kinds of activities. There's a multi-purpose field way in the back that you play football and soccer. We have land that we acquired to the west of there that someday will be developed further to add to the park that could have soccer fields, additional parking, more baseball fields. So we want people to enjoy these areas like pocket parks. There's nothing to say that at the Root Road Park that someday there might be a walking trail all the way around it, which would encourage other people that just play soccer to go use that. So that was, one of the things that we looked at. In addition, the Park and Rec Commission also did recommend that if possible, not quite sure how the signs will be developed or made, but if possible, it'd be nice to have a placard that could be changeable, very much like, it says mayor, whoever the mayor is, that recognizes that this is the home of the North Ridgeville Amateur Soccer League, because it's been the home of the soccer league for many, many years. And so, someday maybe all the soccer fields will be at Shady Drive, who knows? But we didn't want to be, looking at just what the park is today. We wanted to look at, and that's how we look at all our parks. Frontier Park used to be a football field. It's not a football field anymore. People are there doing many, many different things. So I just want to make that comment that that's also one of the reasons why we thought it best, as we're doing our signage program now, to look forward and to give the park a name that would be more inclusive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boos. Any additional comments? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.